Guys, welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about how to let go and why that is so hard for us to do on a deeper level. Watch this video. Hey guys, welcome to my channel. If you're new, please click the subscribe button, the bell to receive notifications when I release new videos. And if you've been with us for a while, thank you so much and welcome back. I want to talk about this topic of letting go because it's come up in my personal life lately, and I've done a few pretty raw, vulnerable Instagram videos on the topic of cleaning out the apartment that I was in while I was divorcing, and letting go of not only that relationship, but another relationship. Some things that I had never let go of in the past and didn't realize were truly holding me back. Not realizing why I truly couldn't let them go. And after having client sessions all week, I see so many similarities with so many of my clients that go through this. And so I want to share this insight with you because it was really enlightening for me to figure out on my own and to really feel into the experience of truly getting rid of boxes and boxes of clothes and bringing them, literally taking the time and the action to take them to Goodwill, to go through all my paperwork from I can't tell you how many years, and shredding it and really doing the acts of getting rid of things, going on my phone and literally deleting 10,000 photos and 9 albums. And I'm not kidding you. And I was sharing this on Instagram. And the reason I made a video on this is because literally within 10 minutes, I had 27 people that were like, thank you for saying this. You gave me permission to delete all the pictures. Thank you for telling me you're going through this too. I thought I was alone. It can be a very isolating experience, right? When we're feeling grief and loss and letting go and starting over. Truly starting over is scary at any age, but it's also exciting. And so I want to dive into the let go. So this is what happened when I started talking to one of my clients actually this morning about, I'm going to give this scenario. She couldn't let go of this plant. This plant she had reminded her of this positive time she had in this old relationship that was a very negative relationship. And I thought this was super interesting. And I said, wait a minute, this relationship has been done for a really long time. Why are you holding on to this plant? She loves plants though, right? And she said to me, it's just this thing. And I said, what does this plant represent to you? What does this remind you of? And she said, it reminds me of hold on, I wrote it down. She goes, it reminds me of the positive illusion I had about that relationship, the fantasy thinking. I said, cool. So what does the positive illusion do for you now? What is it still doing for you? The answer is always the same. Think about this in your own life. What was I doing? I was holding on to all these photos because it was my what? Escape. It's this positive fantasy, not true, but fantasy illusion we've created that makes us escape from our painful emotions we don't want to feel of loss or grief or unworthiness or whatever it is. And children who come from traumatic homes or dysfunctional families create fantasy thinking. Cinderella, this person will rescue me. We create fantasy thinking to escape our shitty reality that we can't get out of because we're children and we need to be at home. Because we have nowhere else to go. And so many of us recreate that. I got to be in, I was talking to a friend about this the other day. She tends to go for these men that are really dangerous men. And she thinks that's her safety. Because you know what? Her mom was dangerous. And that had to be her safety. And so there's this thing called the emotional imprint that we need to upgrade at some point. We need to really get in there and say, oh my gosh, I'm consciously doing these patterns. I didn't know what I was doing when I was holding on to my stuff. I thought I just wasn't ready to let go. That's half of it. I wasn't ready to let go because what I didn't realize, here's the biggest thing about letting go, you guys. This is the undercurrent. This is the subconscious fear. The subconscious fear of why we don't want to let go is because then we don't have that distraction to self. And we're all afraid to face ourselves. Why? Because we're afraid of the negative emotion. Why? Because we're afraid of the lie we have decided to accept about the negative emotion. I'll give you an example. My client, positive illusion of the relationship. The positive illusion is helping her escape the reality that the relationship ended and she feels worthless, that this guy doesn't like her. Even though he sucks, by the way. And so if she gets rid of the positive illusion, then she has to sit in the full reality that this person is fully gone and fully rejected her and she's fully unworthy. And today I said, okay, is that true? Let's go back to childhood. So you're unworthy if someone doesn't approve of you, but what about the person you're looking to approve of you? That person is broken. Actually, this man was very narcissistic, not generous, pretty abusive. So you're feeling unworthy because the abusive person didn't accept you. Think about that. Consciously think about that. We're not thinking about it consciously when we're going through it. We're just saying, this is my pattern. Going back to her parents who abused her. I'm unworthy if my parents don't accept me or approve of me, so I have to achieve. But if you really look at your parents now that you're an adult, they're abusive people. So who cares if these abusive people are approving of you or not? You are so self-approved. She's super successful and very talented. And so we were talking about that. She's like, I know it here. I don't know it here, right? So we have to do the somatic healing. We have to really close our eyes and go in there and talk to the inner child about how it's okay now and safe now to upgrade and be your own safety. And find people who are safe. And get rid of the old stuff that is in the way of you being there for you, loving you, being present with you. This distraction. My distraction is, maybe I'll go look at those photos one day. Or maybe it's on my phone when I have a sad moment. Or maybe, okay, now it's gone. I've taken it all away from myself. And guess what? Guess what happened to me when I took away all the old things that I needed to let go of? I dropped into such a deeper seeing of myself. And into me I see with myself. And intimacy. We are blocking intimacy with ourselves because we think what we might find is we're not really enough when we get there. What we ultimately find is we're so lovable. Once we love ourselves, we start to feel I'm as lovable as I love myself. When I'm not loving myself because I'm distracting myself from myself, I'm not really feeling lovable. So I'm looking to someone else to love me who's also going to not love me because no one can be more than I am for myself. Everyone is a mirror. So if I'm actually giving myself all of my attention, I'm going to attract people who give me a lot of attention. Watch it, because you don't need it anymore. It's no resistance anymore. If I'm distracting myself from myself with all this shit from my past, I'm going to attract people who don't put me as priority and don't give me enough attention. That's an example, but that is how it's always worked. That is how I've always seen it. And anyone I've ever dealt with this, any client and self, right? If we don't allow ourselves to be intimate with our inner child, and really connect with her or him on a deep, deep level because we've gotten rid of all the debris in the way, all of the distractions in the way, all of the negative stories. When we allow ourselves to be intimate with ourselves, we actually stop attracting unavailable people. So why I'm so passionate about letting go is we cannot move forward at all unless we let go. And all of you know that. And that's why you're subconsciously not letting go. Because you do not want to move forward without that person as your escape, as your fantasy. And as we connect with that inner child and we realize we don't need a fantasy Cinderella story anymore to escape to. Trust me, I did that. We don't need that. We can be our own Cinderella who saves herself story, or Prince Charming, whatever you are. Why is that scary? I said this to a client yesterday. She's like, how do I know I can be there for myself? I haven't, because she hasn't done the inner child work, right? But why would it be scary to be your own Cinderella who is there for herself? Why is that scary? Because then I'll be alone. One of my clients told me yesterday, she goes, I'm the reason I'm in these painful circumstances, and that's why I'm going to be alone. I said, why are you the reason you're in these circumstances? And we did this really crazy, amazing exercise to find out that the reason she's been in a lot of painful situations was not because she wanted those things. It's because she had to abandon what she wanted to align with her mom who wanted those things. And her inner child was in such agony because she just wasn't doing what she wanted to do. She wasn't listening to herself. And if she listened to herself, the fear was that she'd disconnect from mom. So her whole thing was letting go of mom inside your head so you can allow your guidance back in. So guys, the message in this video is we must let go of things that are gone, that are no longer serving us, so we can literally allow in more of who we truly are, not the lie that we're afraid we might be, which is why we have the fantasy in the beginning, which is why we hold on in the beginning. We let in the truth of who we are, which might scare you because the truth of who you are might go against the person you think is safe. And that's the lesson. Anyone who goes against you and your inner guidance is not safe for you. That is not a match. We need to stop lining up with people who are not safe, because that's what we had to do in childhood, and start lining up with the truth of who we are, which is the only safety and security we'll ever have. That is how we are inner secure. Insecurity, internally secure, is when you're no longer insecure. Now you're internally secure. It's a whole thing. I hope you get this. If you don't, rewatch it because there's a lot in there. And please share it with one person you think might benefit from this in any way. Please check the links below. Please subscribe if you haven't already. And I adore you guys. I'll see you next week.